So the big thing I want you to keep in mind with Illustrator is that it's just used for a different purpose. So based on what you're seeing in my search here, what types of images do you think we're going to work on when we're in Illustrator? Yeah, vector art. So how would you describe the way this art looks? I kind of have like a comic book feel to it, right? It's definitely drawing based. It's not a photograph. So when we're in Photoshop, we're dealing with mostly photos. That's the goal. When we're in Illustrator, we are drawing with vectors, and that's what that means is it's a fancy term for these types of drawings that are made from mathematical equations. So the idea of a vector is that it could be like forever stretched and enlarged and forever shrunk without losing its quality. So if I blow up a picture in Photoshop, eventually what happens to the quality of the photo? It gets blurry, right? So that's because it's based on little pixels, little dots. When we're dealing with vectors, all of these lines and shapes are made from mathematical equations. So in theory, they won't ever get fuzzy. What's up? Dots per inch. So that's like that's with the pixels. That's like all the dots that make up a photo. If you have a really, really low DPI, that means your picture is going to be really, really fuzzy because your picture isn't made from a lot of dots. But if your picture is made from like a billion dots, you're going to have really high quality. That's a really good question. Okay. So the nice part is we're going to start with baby steps. We're going to start with shapes. We do like little baby tutorials, maybe like one or two. Then we'll have a small project. Then we'll have another 2 tutorials or so. Then we'll have a small project, and we'll kind of build our way up, which is cool. So I want to go over just like launching Illustrator and things like that, and I'll give you a minute to get that done. So the key is when Illustrator should already be logged in with your name. It should say welcome to Illustrator, comma, your name. And hopefully you still have the shortcut. But if you don't, you can go to your start menu and you could go into the search here and start typing in Illustrator. And I like to right click on it and pin it to the taskbar so it always pops at the bottom here, and you'll let it launch. So we'll just use that one for now because I already loaded it. And then there's one thing we have to do to set it up, which is a little tricky the first time, and then we're totally done. So I went into today's assignment, fill in stroke effects, and there's a little bit of like a worksheet I'm going to have you work on. So I went to the 3 dots. I opened it in a new window, and I'm downloaded it already. So as you can tell, it's in the corner here. So Illustrator is kind of like a brown and golden yellow icon. And I'm going to drag it into Illustrator, just drop it in the middle here. And you'll notice on mine, because I work on Illustrator a lot, I have this bar at the top, and this is called your control. Chances are you don't have that. So the 2 things I'm going to have you do is launch Illustrator with this file, and then you're just going to make sure you go to Window, Control, so that bar pops up. And I like to go to Window Toolbars right underneath and make sure that the advanced one is clicked, which means it should have like 2, usually it has 2 columns like that. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. And that's really the major thing we need in Illustrator for today, just to get started. I think that's good for now. Let's start with that for today.